I am James Karanja. I am also Mero. I am an intersex person. I am the director of Intersex Persons Society of Kenya. Thank you.
What is the intersex, Mr. Karanja?
So basically, intersex is a person who is born with both male and female characteristics. In a simpler but a derogatory way, it means like a person who is a hermaphrodite, but generally, intersex is more of a synonym that tries to give a humanistic nature to intersex persons.
How common is intersex?
So basically, according to the United Nations, in their website, United Nations Free and Equal, they claim that in every 2,000 children who are born, there's an intersex child who is born. So basically, in each and every existing population, you have from 0.05 to 1.7% of that existing population. So basically, there's not many, but it's a portion within any existing population.
How does a person know that they have intersex conditions?
So basically, you would categorize them in two ways. One is that when a person has ambiguous genitalia, they are easily identified at birth. Then you have other people who realize that they are intersex at a later stage, and that would depend on maybe during adolescence. So there are two ways. One, you recognize as an intersex person when you're born, and the other one is during puberty.
How does intersex society recommend for children with intersex?
So basically, in the whole world, there is no a standard moratorium that has been adopted on the treatment, care, and the management of intersex people. But for us, we always propagate to have a society that understands who these intersex people are, and therefore we advocate for them to be treated first as human beings. That these children should be able to access services that are offered by government and other people can, or quote unquote, the normal people can achieve, and that is from health, education, and legal recognition. So for us, I think we advocate for intersex children to be and intersex adults to be treated just like any other normal human being.
Does the intersex society think children with intersex should be raised without a gender or that gender?
I think there's a very big there would be a very big challenge if we try to have a genderless society, because again, gender and sex in itself tries to answer a lot of questions apart from the sexual aspect of it in terms of economic empowerment, and that is why it's through gender we have women fighting for their rights. So therefore, intersex people cannot be raised genderless. And then the other aspect of having intersex people or intersex children as the third category, that one tries to inform some of the processes that have proven to be very challenged to institutions that are mandated to provide services for people. And when I mean generally, because most of the time, for example, you find that most of our birth certificate as intersex people, they are not written either M or F, they are written question mark. I think for me, a question mark has a negative connotation compared to, if we give these people an identity that reflects who they are. So I think for me, at the moment or at the initial stage, it takes away that exclusion, marginalization, and gives them recognition as part of a society who are different but should be treated just like human beings. So I think yes, we need at least to open for the intersex people that one, they can be raised as intersex through their documentation, but again make it very simple for them during when they determine who they are. They can either switch to male or female. So for intersex people, it should be left as a spectrum that they can either go F or M during after they recognize who they are.
What is wrong with the way intersex has traditionally been treated?
I think intersex people, one has the first thing is that when a mother gives birth to an intersex child, it comes with a lot of political, social, religion, and cultural expectations. So when you do not live to these expectations, then you are subjected to discrimination. And the first thing that happens to intersex children is they are killed. So infanticide is a very rampant thing, especially within the African continent when it comes to issues on intersex children. I think the other thing is that intersex people are always treated with suspicion, because how do you have this person who we cannot clearly tell whether it's a male or a female, because we have entrenched these norms on who is a male and who is a female and how they should look like. But you see, most of the time to intersex people, you find that your body might manifest to be not what the society expected. So it raises, or it treats you, or the society uses that to treat you with a lot of discrimination. You're subjected to stigma, and most of the time you find that most intersex people end up committing suicide. So I think the society generally, which I think it's a changing perspective, have always treated intersex people as outcasts and believing that they are the cause of the bad omen in any society that they live. So, but I'm happy those things are changing.
What do doctors do when they encounter a patient with intersex?
I think one is that most of the people always forget that doctors are human beings, and I can tell you for sure, for the very many doctors I've interacted with, is that the moment they see an intersex child, especially a child, it's always a challenge to them, because also it comes with a lot of expectation from the parent and from the state, because then all that burden, it's for the doctor to determine, is this child a boy or a girl? Then what happens if it's not a boy or not a girl? Then doctors have always prioritized the best interest of their patient. So you find that they do not want to lie to the parent. At the same time, they want not to be on the wrong side when they're making this critical decision on the life of these children. So most of the time we find that doctors also find themselves in distress situations. But I think that can, at some point, I believe it would change when we have a proper systematic processes that understands, respects, and creates a space for these children who are born that way.
Do you know how the intersex anatomy develops?
Not really, because I think then I will be getting into another person's jurisdiction in terms of career-wise. But the best thing that has happened within the school curriculum, the Kenyan curriculum, tries to, especially those who take biology in secondary schools, these are some of the steps you are taught, from fertilization, to birth and the reproductive system. But anyway, if I was trying to explain some of this, I would be getting in other people's career. So it's for them to explain such kind of things.
Okay. Can someone grow up psychologically healthy with the intersex genitals without normalizing surgeries?
I think yes, I have grown. I'm an adult person. I have not undergone through any surgery. So you see, there are two schools of thought when it comes to intersex, and one is the societal expectation on you cannot raise a child, you cannot raise a genderless child. Therefore, it comes with a lot of expectations. Secondly, there is the medical aspect that believes that if you raise these children with some of these, intersex conditions, you are highly subjecting them to cancerous or cancer to be precise. So you find that it's always about these two schools fighting, and the only person who is at the epicenter is the intersex person. So you find the doctor says, no, we cannot let you go home this way, because then you are likely you are highly prone to cancer. Then the society says, no, we cannot let you go out to the society like this, because for us we only have these designated spaces for either male or female. So at some point you find that the power bestowed on the parent, on the best interest of the child, at some point overrides the best interest of that child per se, and this again becomes I think it's a very big challenge. And for me, I know people can grow with their genitals without all these surgeries.
You know the health policy position on intersex surgery.
So I think again, all over the world, there is no standard procedure, but I can say that it is at this time that the Kenyan government, through the Ministry of Health, they are contemplating on providing standard guidelines to these surgeries on intersex children.
Are there medical risks associated with the intersex conditions?
Generally, yes. I think your question for me, it's like in two parts. And one is that when you think about risks, are you talking from a medical perspective, like if you do these surgeries, then what will be the outcome to the patient? And one is that some of those, it's very costly, very, very costly. Secondly is that when you do one procedure, it asks for other procedures. So it's like a cycle. You do one surgery today, then after 3 days the doctor says, no, we made a mistake, we go back again. So that is one. Thirdly is that some of those scars that these people or these intersex people were subjected, when they get the issue of arousal, it becomes one of the most painful things. So these scars do not heal. Thirdly, I think fourth would be when you're misgendered, because that is the outcome of it would be an outcome of such kind of a surgery, and it is always the worst, I think, thing to deal with as a human being, when you have already have that healthy tissue or that healthy organ taken away from you, just because people had all these idea of trying to make you look normal. So I think there's there are so much when it comes to the medical issue, and one of the other big risks is that these are irreversible surgeries. The moment you have those surgeries, whatever is taken away from you, it will never be given back to you, even if you demand for it. So you expose people to a lot of human rights violations, such as if you take these people organs, then you deny them their right to gratification, sexual gratification, then you deny them, then the exposure itself takes away their privacy. Then again, at some point, if these interventions are done at very early stage, you might be denied the right to procreation. So all these things, when you put them together, are the results of these harmful or risks that are associated when you subject an intersex child to surgeries.
what about this question? What do intersex and same marriage debate have to do with the same with each other?
I think there is no. I think for me the conversation again goes to judging intersex people based on a history they do not understand, and they do not understand because, for example, I'm just talking about a one-day-old child who even the doctors are finding a distress in trying to identify who they are. Then I think it does not make any sense to anyone on how you're trying to link a one-day-old child with issues on marriage. It does not make sense. Then we would be the most pervert in terms of anything bad in the society if we are trying to link a one-day-old child who is or who will be subjected to all sort of discrimination from lack of education, lack of proper recognition, inability to access proper health care, and the affirming health care to marriage. It does not work. So I think for me the intersex people, it's not about identity, it's not about orientation, but it's about who they are born or how they are born with that difference, and they are right to exist with that difference. That has got nothing to do with how they want to have sex, who they want to love, or who they want to be associated with in life. But it gives them the basics to exist as a human being.
Let's wrap up for that. Thank you very much.
Thank you.